The galaxy had known peace for 3,000 years. Stars glittered in harmony, and countless worlds thrived under the rule of the Galactic Conquered. The Conquered had been a union of hundreds of intelligent species, all agreeing to a pact. War would end, and diplomacy would guide the future. Among them, humans had become known as a quiet, patient species, not violent, not ambitious. They built cities of glass and light, wrote books filled with philosophy and art, and explored space with curiosity rather than conquest. To other species, humanity seemed gentle, almost fragile, a reminder of a past age when war had destroyed much of their home planet. Yet despite this calm, humans were not weak. They were survivors of a history that no one else remembered. Earth had once been a place of fire and chaos. Humans had faced wars that could have ended them, disasters that could have erased their species, and yet they endured. Over generations, they learned patience, strategy, and the value of knowledge. Now, after 3 millennia of peace, the galaxy believed them harmless. It began quietly, as all major shocks do. A fleet of ships appeared on the edge of human space, unlike any seen before. Their hulls were dark, angular, and glowing with a strange energy that made the stars behind them shimmer strangely. They did not send messages. They did not ask for parley. They simply moved, and their intention was clear. War. The alien empire known as the Zerath Dominion had declared it. Humanity must surrender or be destroyed. Across the Galactic Conquered, panic spread. Alien ambassadors scrambled to issue warnings. Fleets were mobilized, and planets braced for destruction. Entire systems went into emergency lockdown. In the council halls of the Conquered, species argued over how to respond. Fear, confusion, and despair filled the chambers, yet on Earth the response was different. News reached the human leaders, and they gathered in the Grand Hall of Unity, a circular building of shining metal and glass. Leaders of Earth's nations, now united under the Terran Coalition, spoke in measured tones. The reports of alien fleets were grave, but no one trembled. There were no frantic orders, no cries of despair. Humans simply listened, then shared quiet smiles. "Are they mad?" asked Ambassador Talar, an alien representative from the aquatic world of Nerevia, his voice trembling. "Do they not fear death?" A human diplomat, Mara Lynn, smiled faintly. Her eyes were calm, almost serene. "We have waited a long time for this," she said. "We have seen war, and we have survived worse than this. You may not understand, but we are ready." Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Humans are not afraid. Many found it unsettling. Others found it incomprehensible. For thousands of years, alien species had believed that survival meant submission. Fear had guided diplomacy, war, and strategy. But humans did not fear. Deep beneath Earth's surface in vast underground complexes, humans prepared quietly. Not because they doubted peace, but because they had never forgotten their past. Generations had trained in secret, honing strategies, maintaining fleets, and preserving knowledge that the rest of the galaxy considered obsolete. The ships of old wars had been stored, hidden from view, with crews ready to awaken at a moment's notice. Humanity had practiced tactics that no alien had ever imagined, because no alien had ever faced the relentless trials that humans had endured centuries ago. The young humans watched the skies, unaware of what the galaxy thought of them. Children played in fields while satellites above monitored alien movements. Students studied history, philosophy, and science with equal passion, not knowing that one day this knowledge would be called upon to defend all life on Earth and beyond. Yet, even in their innocence, humans were ready. Their elders had instilled in them the quiet certainty that survival required patience, courage, and understanding. Meanwhile, the Zerath Dominion advanced. Their warships moved like shadows across the void, powerful and silent. Their commanders, proud and confident, believed that they would crush humanity quickly. The galaxy expected a bloodbath, imagining Earth burned, humanity defeated, and the Terran Coalition in ruins. And then humanity smiled, not in mockery, not in fearlessness born of ignorance, but in quiet knowledge. Humans had endured countless threats. They had risen from ashes, from storms, and from disasters that no alien species could imagine. Their smiles were calm, patient, and confident. To the galaxy it was strange. To the Zerath it was terrifying. How could a species face annihilation and remain so calm? In the Terran Coalition's war room, General Kale Rains studied the alien fleet. His hands rested on the controls of the tactical console, but his mind was calm. His face, marked by years of experience and quiet determination, reflected no fear. "They do not understand us," he said to his aides. "They believe our peace means weakness. They are about to learn something very old and very true." Across the galaxy, alien diplomats continued to send warnings, but the humans did not answer in panic. Instead, they prepared. They repaired ships, calibrated weapons, and ran simulations that tested every possible scenario. But the most important preparation was unseen. The humans strengthened their resolve, reminded each other of the cost of war, and remembered the history of their species. Every battle, every struggle, every loss had taught them the value of survival. And then came the first contact. A small fleet of Zereth scouts entered Earth's system, intending to test humanity's response. They expected hesitation, surrender, or fear. Instead, they found Earth's orbit defended by ships that had long been considered retired relics. Humans did not hesitate. They launched countermeasures not out of anger, but as a demonstration of precision and readiness. The alien ships were forced to retreat, confused and shaken. It was a small victory, but one that sent a clear message. Humanity was not defenseless. Back on Earth, the public watched the skies. They did not panic. They did not scream. Instead, they went about their daily lives, confident that their leaders and fleets were prepared. Schools continued, markets bustled, and families gathered for meals, all under the quiet knowledge that humans had faced far worse and survived. Their smiles, shared quietly among themselves, reflected a deep certainty that the galaxy had never seen. In the corridors of the Galactic Concord, other species whispered in disbelief. "How can humans smile when war comes?" They asked each other. "How can they be so calm?" Some feared that the humans were hiding some unknown power. Others speculated that their history had made them unpredictable, dangerous beyond calculation. The galaxy had believed that peace was fragile. Humans had shown that peace could be strong, patient, and even smiling in the face of threat. As the stars shifted and the alien fleets advanced, the humans continued their quiet preparations. They had no illusions about the coming war. It would be difficult, dangerous, and deadly. Yet they remembered that they were survivors, shaped by fire and conflict over thousands of years. And so, when the galaxy trembled in fear, humans only smiled. For 3,000 years of peace had taught the galaxy many lessons, but humanity would teach a lesson the galaxy had forgotten. Peace is not weakness, and a smile can hide the strength of a species that has survived everything. And in that moment, as the first ships of the Zerath Dominion moved closer to Earth, the humans waited, patient and confident. They were ready, and when the first battle came, the galaxy would learn that humanity was not the species they had assumed it to be. The first sight of the Zerath Dominion fleet had been enough to alarm the entire galaxy. Their warships glinted like black stars against the void, and their silent advance brought fear even to the most seasoned commanders of the Galactic Concord. Yet on Earth, life moved quietly, almost as if nothing had changed. Children still played beneath the golden light of Earth's twin suns. Farmers tended fields, and cities thrummed with the usual energy of daily life. Humans went about their routines with calm smiles, but beneath that serenity lay preparation, and a history that no alien had ever fully understood. Deep in the Terran Coalition's command centers, General Kale Rains walked among his officers. The walls of the room were covered with screens showing star maps, alien fleet movements, and strategic data. Yet Kale's focus was not on numbers or calculations. His mind traveled centuries back to a time when humanity had been forged in fire. "Do you remember?" he asked quietly to Commander Leora Venn, who stood beside him. "The Great Wars, the plague of fire, the collapse of the cities. Do you remember what it cost us?" Leora nodded. Her face was calm, but her eyes held a distant weight, as if recalling memories not her own. "We survived," she said. "We learned. That is why we are ready." Kyle smiled faintly. "Exactly. The galaxy thinks we are soft, peaceful, harmless. They have forgotten what it means to survive humanity." Outside the command centers, Earth's history whispered in every corner. Ancient cities, now carefully preserved, held records of past conflicts. Museums displayed relics of wars long ended, not as trophies, but as lessons. These memories were woven into the culture, taught from one generation to the next. Humans had not forgotten the cost of weakness, and they had not surrendered their knowledge to peace alone. In the underground hangars, ships of many shapes and sizes awaited orders. Some were sleek and modern, designed for speed and agility. Others were old, relics from wars centuries past, yet maintained with meticulous care. Pilots ran simulations, testing every maneuver. Engineers worked tirelessly to perfect every system. But even as humans prepared their fleets, there was no panic. Their work was methodical, precise, and confident. "What do you think they expect?" asked a young pilot, Jaron Hale, his voice betraying a hint of awe. He was standing beside a towering spacecraft, its hull polished and glowing under the hangar lights. "Do they think we will surrender?" "Perhaps," said an older engineer, Amara Kess, tightening a panel on the ship. "But they do not understand us. They never will. Humans do not surrender. We survive, no matter the odds." Jaron looked out of the hangar bay at the distant stars, where the first Zerath scouts were reported to be moving. He felt a strange mix of excitement and fear. But unlike the alien species, he did not feel panic. He had grown up listening to stories of human resilience, of victories that seemed impossible, of battles where humanity had faced overwhelming odds and emerged stronger. Meanwhile, in the corridors of the Galactic Concord, other species whispered anxiously. "How can humans remain so calm?" asked a diplomat from the crystalline planet of Vilaris. "They face fleets they cannot possibly defeat, yet they smile." "They have history we do not understand," said another alien from the desert world of Sarene. "Perhaps they are hiding something. Or perhaps they are simply different." Indeed, humans were different. Their calm did not come from ignorance. It came from memory, from the lessons of fire and loss, from generations who had survived famine, war, and plague. Humans understood death, and they understood what it meant to fight against impossible odds. Where other species saw threat and panic, humans saw opportunity to act with knowledge and precision. On Earth, the leaders of the Terran Coalition convened in the Grand Hall of Unity. The council included representatives from every nation, all unified under the banner of survival. Here humans discussed strategy not with anger, but with clarity. They studied the Zerath fleet, predicted their moves, and considered countless scenarios. "We must show them we are not weak," said Mara Lynn, Earth's chief diplomat. "But we must also be wise. This war is not just about strength, it is about understanding. The galaxy underestimates us. Let us make them see what they have forgotten." In the simulation rooms, young humans trained tirelessly. They practiced fleet maneuvers, planetary defense tactics, and resource management. Every decision was recorded, analyzed, and improved. Each generation added knowledge to the last, forming a web of strategy and skill that had been nurtured in secret for centuries. The galaxy had believed humans were harmless, yet humans had quietly ensured that they could never be underestimated. Beyond the simulations, humanity's military leaders revisited the old texts. Scrolls and data cores detailed centuries of forgotten strategies, cunning ambushes, and resilient defenses. From these lessons, they crafted plans for a war no one in the galaxy could predict. Every move would be precise, every strategy designed to use their strengths against the weaknesses of the enemy. Even as humans prepared, the Zerath Dominion continued its march. Their fleets moved in perfect formation, their warships bristling with energy weapons designed to obliterate any resistance. They believed in sheer power and overwhelming force. They did not consider strategy born of centuries of survival, of lessons learned from countless catastrophes. They did not yet know that humanity had endured what no alien species could endure. In the Terran Coalition's strategic chambers, General Cale Rains watched the incoming reports. "They will strike soon," he said calmly. "And when they do, we will be ready. Not just to survive, but to show them that humans are not what they expect." Across Earth, the public continued their daily lives. People went to work, attended school, and enjoyed leisure with friends and family. Yet beneath the calm, there was an unspoken understanding. Humans had faced darkness before. They had seen empires rise and fall, and when the moment came, they would respond with all the strength they had cultivated over millennia. Their smiles reflected confidence, not ignorance. They had survived worse. They had endured fire and collapse. And now, the galaxy's greatest challenge approached. In the outer regions, alien spies reported strange activity. Human fleets were moving, but subtly, almost invisibly. Ships that appeared dormant were active, scanning the stars, ready to respond. Commanders puzzled over these signs, trying to decipher meaning, but they could not. Humans had always been unpredictable in their history, but the galaxy had forgotten that fact. On the bridge of one human command ship, Captain Alara Venn gazed at the stars. She had inherited stories from her grandparents, tales of humanity's darkest hours and greatest triumphs. She knew that the Zerath expected fear, hesitation, and surrender. She knew they would be disappointed. "They think we are soft," she said softly to her crew. "They think peace has made us weak. But they are wrong. We are ready. We have always been ready." Her crew nodded, calm and resolute. They had been trained for this moment their entire lives. For them, this was not just a battle. It was the culmination of human history, the continuation of a species that had survived every trial. And so, as the Zerath Dominion advanced, the humans waited. Their ships glimmered under the light of distant stars, engines humming with quiet power. Their minds were clear, their hearts steady. They remembered the fire, the loss, and the endurance of countless generations. And they smiled. For 3,000 years of peace had not made humanity weak. It had given them time to learn, to grow, and to prepare. The galaxy might tremble, the aliens might boast, and the Concord might panic, but humans were ready. And when the first battle finally arrived, the galaxy would see that the smiles of humans were not empty. They were a promise that no force, no empire, no threat, no matter how vast, could break the spirit of a species that had survived fire, collapse, and death for millennia. And in that calm, quiet readiness, humanity waited. The first clash was nothing like the galaxy expected. For centuries, alien species had forgotten the human capacity for war. They remembered humans as peaceful philosophers, artists, and explorers, a species that had turned away from violence. Yet the moment the Zerath Dominion entered human space, that illusion shattered. The alien fleet approached the Sol system confident in their power. Their ships were enormous, bristling with energy cannons, and their formation was tight, disciplined, and intimidating. Across the galaxy, the Concord watched with fear. Reports arrived that humans had mustered their fleet, but the numbers seemed small, almost negligible compared to the vast Zerath armada. Many assumed that humanity's end was imminent. On Earth, in the Grand Hall of Unity, General Cale Rains calmly surveyed the incoming fleet data. He did not panic. His face was steady, his eyes sharp. "They believe numbers will win," he said softly to Mara Lynn, Earth's chief diplomat. "They do not understand strategy. They do not understand humanity." The human fleet launched from orbit in perfect coordination. Ships of all sizes moved like a single organism, silent but purposeful. They had practiced these maneuvers for decades, using simulations refined over centuries. Where the Zerath expected hesitation, they found precision. Where they expected confusion, they found calm. Captain Alara Venn commanded one of the largest human battleships, the HSS Resolute. Her crew worked in seamless synchrony, each member anticipating the other's actions. Every system, every weapon, every maneuver had been rehearsed countless times. They were ready. As the Zerath approached, they unleashed their first attack. Energy beams arced across space, tearing through debris fields and asteroid belts. The human fleet responded, not with brute force but with cunning. Ships split into unpredictable patterns, using asteroid clusters as shields, and emitted decoy signals that confused the enemy targeting systems. The Zerath Dominion's commanders were shocked. Their calculations had assumed predictable human behavior, but the humans were unpredictable. They struck from angles no one had considered, evading attacks as if they knew exactly what the Zerath would do next. "Impossible," muttered Admiral Krill, the Zerath fleet leader. "How do they anticipate us so perfectly?" On the bridge of the Resolute, Alara smiled faintly. "They do not see the history behind our strategy," she said to her first officer. "We have learned from every defeat, every disaster, every war our species has ever faced. Strategy is in our bones." The battle intensified. Human ships struck at key points of the Zerath formation with precision. Smaller human frigates targeted supply lines, disrupting communications, while larger battleships engaged enemy capital ships directly. Every movement was deliberate, designed to maximize effect while minimizing risk. The Zerath were powerful, but they were unprepared for the humans' combination of skill, strategy, and timing. From orbit, Earth civilians watched the flashes of battle against the black sky. There was no panic. There were no screams. People simply observed, trusting that humanity's preparation would see them through. In homes and public squares, families held hands and waited, confident that the species that had endured fire, famine, and countless wars would endure this threat as well. The first significant clash occurred near Jupiter's orbit. A group of human destroyers feigned retreat, drawing a squadron of Xerath cruisers into a narrow asteroid belt. There, hidden human ships struck from multiple angles, disabling the alien cruisers with precise shots that avoided unnecessary destruction. The Xerath were stunned. In centuries of conquest, they had never seen such tactics. "Pull back," ordered Admiral Krill. "They are too precise, too disciplined." But the humans did not stop. They advanced with calm determination. Their ships moved in patterns that seemed almost artistic, yet every move was lethal. The Xerath fleet, confident in its size and firepower, had underestimated the humans' ability to combine patience, cunning, and relentless focus. Back on the Resolute, Captain Ilara addressed her crew. "Remember why we fight. Remember who we are. We are humanity. We survive, we endure. And today we show the galaxy that peace has not weakened us. It has prepared us." Her words resonated through the ship. Crew members manned their stations with renewed energy, and the human fleet pressed the advantage. They struck key enemy systems, forcing the Xerath to retreat from positions they had expected to hold easily. Across the battlefield, human coordination and discipline created confusion among the alien ranks. In the command halls of the Galactic Concord, other species watched in awe and disbelief. "Are humans fighting?" asked a representative from Valaris, his crystal-like voice trembling. "They are, smiling while doing it." "They are not smiling in fear," said Mara Lynn, calm in her diplomatic station. "They are smiling because they remember. They remember every trial, every loss, every lesson. They fight with knowledge, not with rage. That is the difference. The battle raged for hours. Energy blasts lit the void. Ships maneuvered with impossible precision, and humans consistently outsmarted the alien attackers. Every move, every counter, every feint was calculated. Where the Xerath expected straightforward aggression, they encountered creativity and discipline in equal measure. One particular maneuver became the turning point. A squadron of human fighters led by young pilot Jaren Hale executed a coordinated attack on the enemy flagship. Using decoy signals, speed bursts, and precise timing, they disabled the ship's shields and weapon systems without losing a single craft. The flagship, a massive war machine, suddenly became vulnerable. "Target neutralized," Jaren reported, his voice calm, though adrenaline surged through him. "All systems nominal," General Kale observed from the command center on Earth. He allowed himself a small smile. The humans had proven the first lesson. The galaxy could never assume peace meant weakness. Yet even in victory, humans remained disciplined. They did not chase the retreating Xerath recklessly. They withdrew to safe positions, maintaining formation and readiness. The galaxy watched as a species fought not for conquest, not for revenge, but with skill, patience, and understanding. That night, as stars shimmered over Earth, the news of the battle spread. Across planets and systems, alien species whispered in shock. Humans, long thought to be harmless, had demonstrated tactics, precision, and strategic genius beyond imagination. They had fought not with emotion, but with calculation and courage. On Earth, families celebrated quietly. They did not revel in destruction. They knew the cost of war too well. Instead, they honored the bravery, skill, and wisdom of their fleet. Humanity had survived the first test, and they had done so with calm determination and a quiet smile. In the halls of the Terran Coalition, General Kale addressed his officers. "This is only the beginning. The Xerath will strike again. They will bring more ships, more weapons, and more threats. But we are ready. This battle proves what we have always known. Humanity is strong, prepared, and capable of surviving anything. And when war comes again, we will show the galaxy what it means to fight with wisdom, courage, and unity." Captain Ilara returned to her bridge, looking out at the calm void of space. The first battle had ended, but the war had only begun. She felt a quiet pride, knowing that humanity had not only survived, but had proven their strength. They had faced fear, and instead of trembling, they had smiled. The galaxy had learned its first lesson about humans. Peace did not mean weakness. Patience did not mean hesitation. And a smile did not mean ignorance. Humans had endured fire, famine, and countless wars, and they had emerged stronger for it. As the stars continued to shine above, humans prepared for the next encounter. They studied enemy movements, refined strategies, and trained every day. They had faced the first battle and survived. And the Xerath Dominion, once confident in easy victory, now approached with caution, fear, and growing respect. And so humanity waited, calm, prepared, and smiling, ready for the next challenge, ready to show the galaxy that they were not what anyone had assumed. For centuries of history, lessons in survival had brought them to this moment. The first battle was won, but the war was just beginning. Humanity's strength lay not in weapons alone, but in knowledge, strategy, and an unshakable spirit that had endured the tests of time. And in that enduring spirit, the galaxy saw something it had not expected. Humans were ready to fight, and they would do so with a calm smile. The galaxy had never seen fear like this before, not in its history of empires, fleets, or wars. The Zerath Dominion, confident and proud, had believed that humans would crumble when faced with overwhelming force. They had been wrong. The first battle had taught them that humanity was precise, disciplined, and dangerous, but that lesson was only the beginning. The Zerath returned with greater fury. This time they did not limit themselves to fleet attacks. They unleashed devastating orbital bombardments on outer colonies, hoping to shatter morale. Energy beams reduced cities to rubble, artificial storms devastated crops, and countless lives were threatened. Across their empire, the Zerath expected chaos. They expected fear, surrender, and panic. Yet on Earth, the response was calm. Citizens watched reports of distant destruction, but they did not panic. The Terran coalition had contingency plans in place. Evacuation routes were organized. Supply stations were ready, and civilian fleets were prepared for safety. Humans understood that fear did not solve problems. Preparation did, and preparation had been humanity's secret for centuries. In the Grand Hall of Unity, General Kael Rains convened with his top commanders. "They hope to break us," he said, voice steady. "But they forget something. We have faced disasters they cannot even imagine. Cities burned, plagues spread, wars that spanned decades. We survived all of them. We will endure this too." Mara Lynn, Earth's chief diplomat, nodded. "And we will not fight alone," she added. "The galaxy is watching us. Many species have begun to question the Dominion's motives. Some are even seeking our protection." Across space, alien species who had once doubted humans now looked upon them with respect. The crystalline Valaris, the desert-dwelling Saran, and even the aquatic Nerevians sent fleets to assist humanity. They had seen what humans could do, and they wanted to survive alongside the species that had turned war into art, patience into strategy, and history into strength. Human fleets expanded, not recklessly but with careful precision. They coordinated with allied species, sharing knowledge and tactics, training crews, and reinforcing defenses. Every move was calculated, every strategy refined from lessons long forgotten by the rest of the galaxy. The humans' ability to unite allies without arrogance amazed their partners. They did not demand obedience. They inspired cooperation through competence, courage, and calm leadership. Captain Alara Venn stood on the bridge of the HSS Resolute, gazing at reports of colonies under attack. "They think destruction will frighten us," she said quietly. "But they forget that we have survived worse. We have endured famine, fire, and chaos. We do not fear them." Her first officer, Commander Leora Venn, replied, "They will learn that humans do not crumble. They adapt. They endure. And we will show them how strong we are, not through cruelty but through resilience." The first major Zerath assault targeted the Aegis Cluster, a group of colonies near the galactic edge. Energy beams cut through atmosphere, storms raged, and panic began to spread among civilians. But the humans were ready. Emergency shelters activated instantly, evacuation protocols moved millions to safety, and defensive fleets engaged the Zerath attackers with precision. Small human strike teams executed coordinated attacks on the enemy's supply lines, disrupting communications and slowing the advance. Their movements were unpredictable yet perfectly timed. The Zerath, used to overwhelming power, struggled to respond to tactics they had never faced. Each human maneuver reminded them of the first battle. Numbers alone could not defeat a species that had mastered patience, strategy, and survival. On one critical front, young pilot Jaren Hale led a squadron through a field of energy mines set by the Zerath. The mines were designed to destroy any approaching fleet, yet the humans navigated them with unmatched skill, using careful calculations and daring maneuvers. They bypassed the traps and disabled key enemy installations, turning the enemy's own weapons against them. "This is incredible," said his wingman, Tira Solon. "They expected fear, but we are calm. We are precise. We are unstoppable." As the battle escalated, the Zerath realized that destruction alone could not break humanity's spirit. Every colony that was threatened had backup plans. Every fleet that was attacked had contingency strategies. Every civilian that was endangered was already accounted for. Humans had thought of every possibility, every failure, every risk, and they had prepared accordingly. Across the galaxy, alien species began to whisper. "Humans," said an ambassador from Saharin. "They do not fear death. They do not surrender. They do not panic. They endure, and yet they are not cruel." "They are unlike anything we have known," replied the Valaris diplomat. "Their strength is unimaginable." Even the Zerath began to feel fear, not the fear of dying, but the fear of being outwitted, outmaneuvered, and outlasted. Every attack they launched was met with human adaptation. Every strategy they employed was countered with precision. Their confidence, once absolute, began to crumble. For the first time in their empire's history, they questioned whether victory was possible. In the Grand Hall of Unity, General Kyle addressed his officers and diplomats. "This war will test all of us," he said. "But remember why we fight. Not for conquest, not for revenge, but for survival. For our homes and for the galaxy that watches us. We fight with wisdom, with patience, and with unity. And above all, we fight as humans. The Zerath may bring destruction, but they will never break our spirit." Maralian added, "Let the galaxy witness this. Humans smile in the face of war. Not because we are fearless, but because we have endured everything. Our strength is not in weapons alone, but in our knowledge, our preparation, and our courage." As the Zerath unleashed their most devastating weapon yet, a planet-shattering energy cannon aimed at a human colony, the fleet responded with coordinated defense systems. Shields activated, decoy signals dispersed, and smaller ships intercepted the incoming fire. The energy cannon struck, but its effect was diminished, absorbed by the humans' meticulous preparation. Damage was contained and casualties were minimal. Humanity had survived once again. Captain Alara observed the aftermath. "They hoped fear would control us," she said softly. "But fear does not control humanity. Preparation, courage, and knowledge do, and we have all three in abundance." The Zerath fleet began to withdraw, battered and confused. They realized that this war would not be won with sheer power. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and resilient. Their calm in the face of destruction unnerved the enemy. The Dominion's pride turned to anxiety as they witnessed a species that did not yield, did not panic, and did not break. Across the galaxy, other species began to rally. The Valaris sent additional fleets. The Sarin coordinated planetary defenses. Even species that had long remained neutral sought alliances with humans. They understood that survival depended on working with the one species that had faced fire and destruction for thousands of years and had emerged stronger every time. On Earth, the citizens continued their daily lives. They did not celebrate the destruction of the enemy, but they honored the resilience of their people. Schools, workplaces, and homes operated with quiet confidence, a living example of humanity's calm determination. Every smile, every gesture, reflected the knowledge that humans had survived worse, and would survive this as well. In the depths of space, the Zerath Dominion pondered their next move. They had expected fear. They had expected surrender. What they had encountered was far more dangerous. A species that could endure anything, adapt to every threat, and remain calm in the face of destruction. Humans had reminded the galaxy of something it had long forgotten. Peace did not make a species weak, and survival required strength, wisdom, and courage. Back on the HSS Resolute, Captain Alara addressed her crew. "The next battle will come," she said. "But we have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. We endure, we survive, and we fight not with hatred but with wisdom and unity. Remember this. Remember who we are. And when the next challenge comes, we will meet it as we always have. Ready, prepared, and smiling." And so, as the stars shimmered over Earth and human fleets patrolled the outer systems, the galaxy learned a lesson it had long forgotten. Humans were not weak, not fragile, and not afraid. They were a species forged in fire, tempered by history, and capable of surviving anything the universe could throw at them. The Zerath Dominion had begun to fear humanity, not just their ships or weapons, but their spirit. They had underestimated a species that had survived fire, famine, and countless wars. a species that could smile in the face of destruction and remain unbroken. And humanity waited, patient and prepared, ready for the next challenge. For every attack the Zerath launched, humans adapted. For every strategy they encountered, humans had a counter. And for every display of power, humans responded not with panic but with calm resolve. The galaxy had once doubted humanity. Now it watched in awe as humans endured, smiled, and prepared to show the universe what it truly meant to be strong. The war had reached its climax. For months, the Zerath Dominion had pushed deeper into human space, expecting the same fear and submission they had seen in countless other species. They had encountered strategy, skill, and patience in battle. They had seen humans survive bombardments, evade traps, and outmaneuver their fleets. But nothing had prepared them for the final confrontation, the battle for the heart of the Dominion's empire. From the Terran Coalition's command center, General K.L. Rains surveyed the galaxy-wide map. The fleets were in position. Allies had joined humanity, inspired by the discipline, resilience, and calm determination of humans. Crystalline Vilurus ships glimmered alongside human destroyers. Desert-dwelling Sauran cruisers flanked the edges of the fleet. Even the Naravians contributed their fastest ships to reconnaissance and support. Kale turned to Mara Lin. "This is it," he said quietly. "Everything we have trained for. Everything our species has endured. Today the galaxy will understand who humans are." Mara nodded. "And they will see that peace does not mean weakness. That preparation, knowledge, and courage can triumph over sheer force. Humanity will remind them why we survived for thousands of years." In orbit above a captured colony near the Dominion's capital worlds, Captain Ilara Ven stood on the bridge of the HSS Resolute, her gaze fixed on the approaching enemy armada. Hundreds of Zerath warships, massive and menacing, moved in formation, bristling with energy weapons designed to annihilate anything in their path. Yet Ilara's face reflected calm determination. Her crew mirrored her confidence, trained for this moment, prepared for every scenario. "We fight not for revenge," she said softly, addressing her officers. "We fight for survival, for unity, and for the future. The Zerath have never faced a species like us. They will learn what humanity truly means." The first phase of the final battle was precise. Human and allied ships coordinated attacks on the enemy supply lines, targeting fuel reserves, communication arrays, and smaller escort vessels. Every strike was calculated. Every maneuver designed to destabilize the massive enemy fleet without unnecessary risk. The Zerath had expected aggression. They did not expect intelligence, patience, and coordination. Young pilot Jaren Hale led a squadron of fighters through a tight asteroid field to flank a group of enemy cruisers. Using decoy signals, speed bursts, and clever formations, they disabled multiple cruisers without losing a single ship. Jaren's squadron moved like a single entity, anticipating each other's actions, a product of decades of human strategy and countless simulations. "This is incredible," Jaren said over the comms. "They expect panic, but we are calm. They expect disorder, but we are precise. We are humans." As the battle escalated, General Kale coordinated with human admirals across the galaxy. Every fleet movement, every strike, every counterattack was part of a larger plan. A plan that used the strengths of humans and their allies to exploit the weaknesses of the Dominion. The Zerath were powerful, but their reliance on brute force and overconfidence became their undoing. The turning point came near the Dominion's central command world. A coordinated strike led by Ilara targeted the enemy flagship, a massive vessel thought to be nearly invincible. Using a combination of human precision tactics, allied support fire, and decoy maneuvers, the flagship's shields were pierced, its weapons disabled, and its mobility compromised. Admiral Krill aboard the flagship stared in disbelief. "Impossible. How can a species fight with such intelligence, such patience, such coordination?" Ilara's voice came over communications, calm and resolute. "Because we are humans. We survive, we endure. We fight not with anger, but with wisdom, unity, and courage. You underestimated us, and now you will see the cost." The flagship fell. Its destruction sent shockwaves through the Dominion's fleet. Coordination broke down, formations faltered, and panic began to ripple through the enemy lines. The Zerath realized they had not just underestimated humanity's ships, they had underestimated the humans themselves. Across the galaxy, allies watched in awe. "Humans, they are unstoppable," said the Vilaris ambassador. They do not fight for glory. They do not fight for conquest. They fight because they must survive, and in doing so they inspire everyone around them. The Dominion attempted to regroup, unleashing their most powerful weapons on nearby planets and fleets. But the humans and their allies had anticipated every move. Shields were reinforced, fleets maneuvered flawlessly, and human command structures adapted instantly to new threats. Every attack that the Dominion hoped would sow fear instead strengthened human resolve and unity among their allies. On Earth, citizens continued to monitor the battle with quiet pride. They did not cheer destruction. They understood the cost of war too well. Instead, they honored the resilience, wisdom, and courage of their species. Every city, every family, every person reflected the calm strength that had brought humanity this far. Meanwhile, General Kale and Mara Lynn coordinated the final phase, a combined strike designed to end the Dominion's war effort once and for all. Human, Valaris, Saran, and Nerevian fleets converged on the enemy's central worlds. Human engineers had devised precise maneuvers to disable planetary defenses, and strike teams targeted key command and energy hubs. Every element of the plan relied on intelligence, preparation, and the adaptability humans had cultivated over thousands of years. As the final attack commenced, Captain Alara Venn led the charge. Her ships moved in patterns so precise, so synchronized, that the Dominion could not anticipate their moves. Energy blasts intercepted enemy fire. Coordinated strikes disabled the remaining warships. The Central Command world's defenses collapsed under the weight of human ingenuity and allied support. Admiral Krill realized the truth too late. Humanity was not just a species of fighters. They were survivors of countless trials, a species that had endured fire, plague, famine, and war, and emerged stronger each time. The Dominion's weapons, strategy, and power meant little against a species that had mastered preparation, patience, and resilience. The battle ended in decisive victory. The Dominion's fleets were destroyed or scattered, their command centers neutralized. Humanity and its allies had triumphed not through sheer force alone, but through wisdom, discipline, and courage. In the aftermath, the galaxy took notice. Stories spread of how humans had smiled in the face of annihilation, how they had faced the mightiest empire in history without panic, how they had united allies and inspired hope across countless worlds. Humans were no longer seen as harmless philosophers or gentle explorers. They were recognized as a species of unmatched resilience, intelligence, and courage. On Earth, General Kale addressed the Terran coalition. "The war is over," he said. "We have shown the galaxy that humans are not weak, not fragile, and not afraid. We have survived threats no one else could endure. Peace has not made us soft. It has prepared us. And now the galaxy knows what it means to face humanity." Captain Alara Venn stood on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the stars. The final battle was over, yet the lessons endured. "We have shown them who we are," she said to her crew. "Humans survive. Humans endure. And humans smile because we remember everything that brought us here. And we know we are ready for whatever comes next." Across the galaxy, allied species rebuilt their fleets and worlds inspired by humanity's example. They learned that strength was not measured by aggression alone, but by preparation, patience, and unity. The story of humans smiling in the face of war became legend, a lesson for generations to come. And the humans themselves returned to their lives with quiet calm. They rebuilt what was damaged, honored those who fought bravely, and prepared for the future. But they never forgot the battle, nor the message it sent to the stars. Humanity was a species that could survive anything, endure anything, and face any threat with calm confidence. In the end, the Zerath Dominion retreated, their empire fractured and humbled. They had learned a lesson they would never forget. Do not underestimate humans. Peace did not mean weakness. A smile could hide unmatched strength, and a species forged in fire, tempered by history and united in courage, could endure anything. Humanity had won. Not just a war, but the respect of the galaxy. And as stars shone over Earth, humans smiled, not from pride, not from arrogance, but from the quiet knowledge that they had survived, endured, and remained true to the strength of their species. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity, calm and prepared, had shown that survival, courage, and wisdom were more powerful than any weapon.